You know what? The media was so deceptive and the lies that have been told was so ridiculous that I said, I'm gonna make a video about it.
And one thing I like that Officer Tatum did, it was the fact that he found out what his actual beliefs were.
Growing up black in America, you're a Democrat. Republicans are racist white people, is what you grew up knowing. So I kind of still had a little bit of that Democrat mentality when I became a cop. I voted for Barack Obama, and I was still like leaning towards racism as an issue and different things like that. But hanging around my guys on the department, they begin to kind of call me out on it, man. Like, look, the things that you believe aren't the things that they're representing. You know, look at what their platform is. You're a Christian. You believe you're pro-life. You know, you believe in lower taxes. Like, that's not what they're preaching. And then Barack Obama, and this is what just completely eliminated my thoughts and support for the Democrat Party, was that he was bashing police officers. It was the Cambridge Police Department who they ended up arresting a guy who was actually a homeowner. But the scenario was very complex, right? This guy is going through the window of his own house, but the neighbors don't know it's his house.
So if you guys don't know who this is Officer Tatum. He was a former police officer and he runs a conservative YouTube channel now. And what he's doing is on a podcast talking about how he became a Republican. He's going to eventually talk about Charlie Kirk. He's going to talk about Donald Trump. He's going to talk about all these things and voice where his thoughts are from. I believe the host of this show will be giving him a little pushback on his beliefs. I'm unsure, but what he's saying does have some merit. In black communities, when it comes to being a Republican or a Democrat, a lot of beliefs are just embedded in you from a young age. And although he questioned the beliefs, a lot of people never question the beliefs. And this goes to both sides. You do not want to blindly follow a political party. And I think that should just go without saying. There should be absolutely no reason you're voting for policies that, for one, you don't believe in, or you're voting for a politician that you don't like or trust or even support his agenda. So I do like the fact that he's doing this video. I think it makes sense, and I'm happy that he's at least discussing where his political beliefs came from, whether or not I agree or don't agree with them. But let's get into this.
Breaking out the window, he gets in, and then when the cops get there, they just, hey, sir, is your house? He go, it's my house. He gets belligerent, and he won't show an ID. And they're like, look, dude, we're just trying to check and see if this is your house. And then it got to a confrontation. Barack Obama commented on that without knowing any information. He bashed those police officers. And then when the truth came out, because the body camera came out, he never recanted his statement. He would go story to story to story bashing police officers and never recanting when the information came out that he was wrong. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I will never in my life support anybody that can't support the men and women that wear that uniform. And I just said, I can't look at the Democrats the same. I'm gonna start looking at Republicans. Ben Carson was my favorite. And I'm sure you guys are familiar with him. One of the greatest men to ever live in American history, world history, actually, when it comes to him separating conjoined twins from the head at, infants. And he was running for office, and Donald Trump was running for office. Now, the context of Donald Trump, I don't know what the people are smoking today, but back then, before Donald Trump ran for office, he was the man. Donald Trump was world known. He's, a real estate guy that can make a lot of money. Everybody loved Trump. Nobody said anything bad about Trump unless they were jealous of his success. So he's running for office. Then you got a serious man that's a Christian, and then you got Donald Trump. And at the time, Donald Trump, to me, it was like he was kind of like mocking the political process, right? He'd go in, he'd say whatever he want to say. He's making these people look stupid because they got to read a script and they got to say all these things right, and he's just saying whatever comes to his mind. And in my mind, he was just doing that, getting fame. He's on television, name recognition, and he's going to go off and be a billionaire doing his own thing. But Ben Carson drops out of the race and he endorsed Trump. And I'm like, Ben Carson is not a fool. Like, it's got to be some reason why he's endorsing Trump. Maybe.
So I understand what he's saying. I really do. He doesn't want to support a party or a president who bashes police officers. And I do think that happens on the left a lot, where people on the left tend to not give police officers the respect that they deserve. I will obviously admit that, because it's true. That's kind of their whole trope. Like, they don't respect police, F the police, that's their trope. I do want to point something out, though, that I think is logically unfair. In 2016, Obama said this, and I quote, I'm reading the exact quote: We have to be able to separate those who use the shield to protect from those who abuse it. But we also know that the overwhelming majority of police do an incredible job, honorably and faithfully. And fairly. Obama said that directly at a 2016 Dallas memorial. And Obama, his actual stance was police deserve respect. He went to police funerals. He funded community policing. And these aren't things that this is not my partisan opinion. These are things that he's actually done. And the only reason I'm bringing that up is because he's trying to frame it as Obama hated police officers when that was just not objectively accurate. I will say this, the Democratic Party in general tends to have a more negative view of police than the Republican Party. I think that's just the truth. But let's continue.
Trump, and he was leading in the polls at the time, Donald Trump was. So in Tucson, Donald Trump has an event. He has a rally. And so I worked the night shift and I said, I'm going to stay up and I'm going to go to this rally. I need to see if this guy's real. I mean, if he's really serious about this or he's just a celebrity going on tour. And in the media during that time, Donald Trump was considered a racist. He was, they show these videos of him kicking black people out of his rallies. And it was this whole sentiment of the white supremacists who were backing this guy and this racist guy who's now doing all these things. But I get there and the protesters were out of control. They were screaming at people. Somebody yelled at me and said I was a white supremacist. Now, you know how stupid that is. I mean, probably the only black guy there and I'm a white supremacist. And I get into the event, so I see how crazy and lunatic. They burning incense. I mean, they trying to block the doorway. All my cop friends are there trying to protect people. They got a lock arm so they don't bum rush the doors. I mean, it was insane because Hillary Clinton had just come the day before. Her and Bernie Sanders did at the same venue. Nobody cared. Nobody showed up. There was no confrontation or nothing. They just came and went. But for some reason, when Trump was there, they were acting a fool. We get into the event, everybody was nice. Everybody was cool. It was like America. Everybody was blended. You had black, you had white, you had veterans, you had all this stuff. It was very different than what the media was showing. Donald Trump come out, he's a rock star, everybody loved him. He said everything that I believed in, that I wanted America to be, Donald Trump was saying those things. And he kind of won my vote. And I said, you know what? The media was so deceptive. And the lies that have been told was so ridiculous that I said, I'm gonna make a video about it.
And one thing I like that Officer Tatum did, and this is not even about the fact that he was at a Trump rally or anything along those lines. It was the fact that he found out what his actual beliefs were. What do you stand for? He said, okay, I'm gonna see if the politician that I'm supporting stands for these things. I'm gonna go to some rallies and see what happens there. And he did just that. And the reason why I commend that is because across the country, a lot of people view politics as if it's some sort of game. If you're from this area or you're from this state or this county, or if you look like this, then you should support this side. When in reality, the policies that you find deeply important to you don't care about what color you are. They don't care. They don't care about any of that. So you need to go after the policies that you find and deem crucial to you, not only you, but your family. And that's what he did. And if you do that and you find out that you more so support Democratic policies, at least you know. But a lot of people don't even know. They just support what is convenient.
Now, I didn't make a video because I was a social media guy. I was not on social media whatsoever. I would just post scriptures on social media. I was a cop. And as a cop, you have to avoid social media stuff altogether. So I just didn't want to type out my whole experience on some news thread. So I said, I'm gonna make a video. And I made a video, went to sleep, and thought nothing of it. I wake up to 35 missed calls. Now, in my mind, I'm like, oh, did I miss my shift? Am I fired? Like, what happened? I didn't think nothing about that rally or that video. I started to look through my phone. I see Sean Hannity, the Fox and Friends, the people that are calling me, the BBC called me, and like I could see it on the call ID. And at the time, I wasn't into politics like that. So I had no idea. I never even watched Fox News. I didn't know who Sean Hannity was, none of those things. So I call the police station and I'm like, hey, what happened? Like, well, why are these people calling me? And they're like, you made some video. And I still didn't know what they were talking about because I didn't think nothing of this rally. And I'm thinking to myself, like, what video did I make? Like, am I in trouble? Am I gonna get fired? And then it dawned on me like, oh, Trump rally video. And she's like, yeah, you went to a rally or something. I'm like, oh, shoot. And that kind of is where it all started. It went viral. And one reason, because Donald Trump shared it. And I think that at the time, I was one of the only black men who openly said something positive about Donald Trump publicly. And I think that's why it went viral. And from that point on, I became a Republican. I was a Trump supporter. And I continued to realize that maybe I do have a voice. Maybe I should continue to speak the things that I'm seeing. And I would make Facebook videos live because I didn't know how to edit videos. I didn't know you could make any money off this stuff. I was a cop. I love being a cop. I wanted to be a chief one day. I think nothing about social media. But I just kept making these videos and they kept going viral. I did that for about a year. And in 2017, Colin Kaepernick, he had done it in 2016 or something like that. This is when that knucklehead was kneeling for the national anthem. And kneeling for the national anthem in America for rational people is blasphemous. Mm-hmm. You know, not everybody, even to this day, everybody stands for the national anthem. You put your hand over your heart, even if you don't like the country or not, it doesn't matter, because the historical context of all that we've done in this country is all encapsulated in the national anthem, right?
And I actually understand why he's saying that, because Officer Tatum was a cop. And when you live under that badge, your job is to serve citizens of the United States, even if that service means that you may lose your life. Like, you can lose your life any single day on a job. So I actually understand why he's like, why are you kneeling for something that so many of us have died for? Like, people who look just like you have passed away for. Why are you just okay with kneeling for that? And I get that. And here's the thing. People look at Officer Tatum and they say, well, you're a black man. You are not supposed to believe these things. And he doesn't let that slide. And he obviously is like, no, I'm going to believe what I stand for. I'm going to fight for what I stand for. And he does it. You got to respect it.
And, you know, starting off as a football player and what you call yourself, which is a black conservative, which is really interesting, because when you came out, as it were, not literally like that, but you know what I mean? And you said, you know, they could never call a black man racist, or that's stupid. I was like, yeah, they can. I've seen it happen loads. Yeah. But why does that happen? Why is it the moment someone who is black or an ethnic minority says an opinion that is mildly conservative, all of a sudden that epithet is hurled at you?
Right, because at first they couldn't. Now they can morph themselves into whatever they want to try to claim that you're the black face of white supremacy, is what they say. Mm-hmm. I mean, I literally had D.L. Hughley just yesterday say that I'm the voice for pushing white supremacist talking points, which is the stupidest thing you ever say. Mm-hmm. But when it first happened, when it was an anomaly. Trump was never considered a racist. Then they made him a racist. But then all the black people support him. People hated on you, but they really couldn't really put their finger on it. They couldn't just call you a racist. That was a dynamic that didn't exist at the time. But then now it is absolutely crazy what they say now, because they were losing the battle of ideas when the anomalies occurred. Like if a person who was gay was supporting Republicans or supporting Christians or something, it was like their minds started popping because that's not in their bingo cards. Mm-hmm. And now they've morphed into finding a position to put you in now. Now they can openly say that you're working for the white man and you're working for white supremacy and you're a traitor to your race, or you're a traitor to your gender, or you're a traitor to the movement. And they've been able to morph that into reality. I think it's completely ridiculous, but they don't operate in reality. They operate off emotions and they weaponize empathy to get the people that they don't like, that are saying the things that contradict their entire existence. They try to pigeonhole you so people don't talk about you anymore, or at least they have a negative perception. They don't want to hear what you have to say.
And that's actually a logical fallacy. Like, rather than attacking his beliefs, rather than attacking his ideals, and I actually did in this video, I pushed back at one of his beliefs that said Obama was just inherently anti-police, when I understand he was more so for police reform, but he didn't hate police. That's just wrong. I didn't attack him as a person, saying like, oh, you're a cop, or you're a black man, you should never say this. I attacked his stance. And that's what you're supposed to do in politics, because politics is not about the person. It's not about Officer Tatum, him as a man. It's about what he's saying. What are you saying? What ideals are you pushing? And when you look at him, you say he's the black face of white supremacy in order to attack himself, like attack him because he's a Republican. That's insane to me. Him being a Republican doesn't automatically make him a white supremacist. And also, people who are a Democrat do not automatically make them not white supremacists. There are racist, believe it or not, there are racist Democrats. There are conservative Democrats. There are racist Republicans. There are liberal Republicans. So there's a big group of people on both sides, and him just existing doesn't mean that he's inherently evil or he's inherently wrong.
So now I'm framed as a black man who don't know my identity. You know, I'm now a black man who love white people more than I love my own people, like they say, that I'm lost. I'm a slave on the plantation, which is obviously the complete opposite of what the reality is.
But what I don't understand is how they don't have it's not intelligence, but just a self-reflection to go, oh, what I'm saying is racist. Like, some of them openly use racial slurs.
Oh, yeah.
And you see white people doing it.
Oh, yeah.
To black people because they have a conservative voice. And you go, my man, this is not a good look.
Yeah, we don't count anymore to them in their perspective of hierarchy of victimhood. Like, we don't count anymore. If you're a liberal and a black person and a white person say anything to you that could be an affront to your identity, to them, they will counsel white people over that. But if you're on this side, you don't count anymore as a black man. You don't count anymore as being gay or whatever you are that's opposed to their ideology. You don't get the exceptions anymore. Somehow racism is a big thing in this world, and discrimination against blacks is a thing to them. But then if you're black and conservative, it don't matter. They don't care. They will discriminate against you. They will be racist against you, black and white. And there's another dynamic, and I'm sure we'll get to that point. Now, if you support Israel, I have never had people be more openly racist against me until I supported Israel. So now that's another, like, we go on the table, a perspective is like, you're conservative now, you voted for Trump, you have no exceptions, but they still kind of hold off a little bit. You support Israel, all bets are off. They can say they want to kill you, and everybody will turn a blind eye to it.
There's so many, you're bringing up so many things that I want to like, we've got Israel, we've got Candace, we've got... Yeah. But there's something interesting. I mean, I feel like you guys are having conversations maybe a couple of years old, because the new left, the Mamdani type of people, they've moved on from the racial stuff. I noticed they don't play that game anymore. They're talking about economic inequality, which I think is a real issue in both our countries. But I wanted to ask you about Mamdani because
because they use black people, they use people as tools to get to what they want. That's what they do. A lot of them don't actually care about racism. They don't care. They use their policies to get what they want. They use talking points to get what they want. And we just have to recognize that, which is why I'm a big advocate of not just being on a political side. I'm not saying don't vote a type of way ever, like be a centrist for eternity. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that don't be married to a political side, because at the end of the day, their job is to support you as their constituent. That's their job. And if they are not supporting you, they're no longer serving you, don't vote for them. Don't go to that side. It's like when you go to a grocery store. If a store stops selling what you need, go to a different store. You're not married to them. This is not your family. But anyways, I'm going to end this video here. Let me know what you guys think. My name is LFR Jojo.